Hi all and welcome to another episode of On The Road Tuning with me, ACDodd, and this week we're off down to RJM Minis for a tuning day. So where are we today? Well, it's down to Hedge End to RJM Minis, and the first car of a tuning day is this lovely Mini Sky. So, a few choice modifications but relatively standard. Under the bonnet, as people normally see me say now, it's got the old powerhouse of a 998. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's brought it in. Okay, so this is Keith. Keith's the owner of this lovely Mini Sky. Why have you brought it down today, Keith?
It's overdue a tune-up. It's not quite running on top line. It's been a bit iffy for a while, and it's probably about 8-10 years it's had a really thorough going over. So
okay, so what's the performance like?
Performance, I'm getting somewhere around about 45-50 to the gallon out. It's intended to be as near original as we can keep this vehicle, because there was only over 500 of them made.
Okay, all right. So well, let's dig in and see what we can find. But the first thing that's coming to my attention, and I don't know if it'll come out on the microphone, is there's a lot of popping.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that and a few other things and see what we can find. Okay, so first things first, looking under the bonnet, I've just checked the resistance on the coil. We got three ohm coils. So somebody has bypassed the ignition cable, the ballast ignition. But the point is, we're running a variable dwell dizzy. So we just check that, look. And we can see the dwell angles varying. Okay, so we've got the spark plugs out, and I've got to cover off the distributor. So having a quick look down there, we'll see the ignition module with that white splodge of paint. Now, on a Power Spark Dizzy, this tells me what... see the white splodge of paint down there? There we go. So what that tells me is the type of coil that will run. And when you see the white splodge of paint, means it's a low power module, not the high power. So the lowest resistance we can fire with that is a 1.4 ohm. So we'll look to change the coil to a 1.4 ohm. Now, if we come back out and look at the plugs. Okay, so these are the plugs that come out of this engine. Now, they don't look too bad. So clearly the engine's running clean enough. But what we have got is a variance. So they're all slightly different. That means two things. One of which here is plug number 2. You can see it's got black sooting on the electrode, and that on the insulator of the electrode. That normally means that we're running the plugs a little bit cold. And also, when you see the variance on each plug, you can tell that we're burning differently. So that normally indicates that we haven't necessarily got enough coil power, or there's a problem with the coil power. So as it happens, we've got a 3 ohm coil running with running with variable dwell, which means that we do have a coil power issue. So we're going to change that to a 1.5 ohm, and that will sort that problem out. We're also going to re-gap the spark plugs, and if we have a look at the spark plugs, we'll also see that this is running 6s, and that's our heat issue. So we'll get a set of BP5 spark plugs in there, gapped to 25 thou with a 1.4 ohm coil, and this should run a lot better straight away. Okay, so where did we get to with this one in the end? So we fitted a new set of Power Spark leads, we've got a 1.4 ohm coil fitted. The distributor itself was absolutely fine in terms of where it was timed in. The advanced curve's a little bit short, but it's working good enough for today. We've got a set of BP5E spark plugs in there, and then we turn our attention to the carburetor. So, unbeknownst to me, but the car has already been rolling roaded by I think Slark Racing 10 years ago, something like that. The needle in it is actually perfect, so Neil over there did a great job. What I did do was I drilled the airbox just to give us a little bit more airflow, and yeah, she's responded quite well. So we'll send the owner out in it now and see what he thinks. Okay, so Keith's been out in his little Mini Sky. What's it like now, Keith?
Way better. Different planet job.
Excellent.
If I've got to get much quicker, I'll need clean trousers.
So clearly, I know we changed a few bits of your ignition system. And even though the needle didn't need profiling, the difference is amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. That'll suit me to run like that. It feels happy.
Okay, yeah. So more power,
Definitely.
smoother,
Quicker pickup.
and I think you even said to me it wasn't as noisy as you thought either.
No, definitely not as noisy as it was.
Excellent. All right. Would you recommend this to anyone else?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks for bringing your car down today, and I was glad I was able to make such a positive difference.
No, thanks very much, Adrian. It's been great, and I've now got a fun car back.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so next car in. I think this is a Mini Neo, or at least was. We've got a lovely interior. It's nice standard sort of interior, which is nice. Classy gear knob. Everyone likes a pull ball gear knob. And then under the bonnet we have the ubiquitous 998 powerhouse as usual. So again, same thing. We'll go and talk to the owner and see why he's brought it in. All right, this is Gareth. Gareth's the owner of this nice little Mini. So what have you brought it in today, Gareth?
So basically it's been running rough. Last year it ran really rough and I couldn't sort of get to the bottom of why.
Yep.
Trying to tune it and do things. Over the winter I rebuilt the carb.
Yep.
Put new not needle but the
Need a flow jet.
yeah,
valve,
and so forth and things like that, and just gave it a really good clean up.
Yep.
Still running rough after that.
Okay. So
yeah.
when you say rough, was it just
Really lacking power? So until you actually built the revs up, managed to get those revs up, it would be really lumpy, hesitant, backfiring. Got to the point where you could only run it on choke.
Okay.
Richard then worked on it, found that one of the issues was possible plugs. So they were swapped down. It made it run a little bit better.
Yep.
And also the vacuum on the Dizzy was loose.
Okay.
And sort of kind of like come away. So I've replaced that.
Yep.
And it does run better.
Okay.
But even now, you have to run it on choke for a long time.
Okay. All right.
Until it gets really warm.
All right. So what you're saying is it's just maybe a bit lethargic.
Yes.
And not basically as much sparkle as what you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
Let's dig in and see what we can find.
Perfect.
Okay, so delving into this one, see the spark plugs are out. We've got the same problem with the spark plugs as the previous car. These are BP6 resistors, so we'll change them for a set of BP5 non-resistors. I'll show you those in a minute. In terms of the coil, we've got the right one on here, so it's a 1.5 ohm, but we are running a ballast cable, which is not what's required on this, because we're also running a Power Spark Dizzy. We've only got the low power module, but it needs, because it's a variable dwell, it needs to have the full power going to the core, so we'll sort that out. Over to the plugs. So in terms of the spark plugs, very much similar to the previous car. Funny enough, we've got dark insulators, which means that we're not getting up to temperature, but the plugs themselves are looking quite clean. So the fueling, I think, on this one is probably just a bit lean, but we can't really judge the plugs until everything's burning properly. So we'll change the plugs for a warmer heat range. We'll also gap them properly, because these are running over 30 thou and they should be 25, so we'll get that sorted out on the new plugs. Okay, so what we got on this one so far, got a set of BP5 E spark plugs gapped at 25 thou. We've replaced the ballast cable with a ballast bypass, so that's up and into the fuse box. And the engine runs, starts and runs okay. I've taken 3 degrees off the timing because we were just a touch over advanced, but the advanced curve in this one is actually pretty good. So we're going to turn our attention now to the carburetor and then see what we find in here. Okay, so carburetor wise, we have leanness. So although at idle it's fine, at sustained RPM we're too lean, so we need to change the needle now and then modify it if need be from there. Okay, so this one's done. In the end, we drilled the air box. It had a needle in it which I've not seen before, but it wasn't actually marked. There was no stampings on it at all, so don't know what was in it. but I can say that I changed it to an AAE. That was too lean. Then I put an AAF in, which was just about right, apart from too lean at 5,000. It was also too lean on progression, so I modified the 5,000 RPM area and the progression. Also changed the oil from straight 20 weight SU oil up to a 1040, and we got an engine that responds now. So it's time to send the owner out in it and see what they think. Okay, so Gareth's been out in his Mini now after the tune. What do you think?
Different car.
Excellent.
Yeah, just brought a smile to my face.
Wonderful. What's it like now?
It's just really responsive.
Yeah.
None of that hesitation at all when you're sort of pulling away from junctions, idle smoothly, and then it's just got that what you would expect through the rev range.
Okay.
So amazing.
More powerful?
Much more. Yeah.
Smoother,
definitely.
just nicer.
Yeah, just running really like I say, put a smile to my face.
And it put a smile on your face, which is excellent, which is one of the reasons why you bring it down for a tune-up, to get the best out of it. Anyway,
Indeed.
Thank you very much for bringing it along today, and I was glad I could make such a difference.
No, thank you.
Okay, next car. Now, this was an 850. She's sporting a 998 engine now. Nice daily driver. Under the bonnet, we have a 998. I think it's got a standard head, but it's got an ACDodd RT camshaft, and I think that's about the extent of the modification. So, owner doesn't want to be on the video, which is absolutely fine. So let's just dig in and see what we find. Okay, so delving into this one, we've got a 3 ohm core, which is all good. Got the right supply to it because it's an older car. We've got electronic ignition, it's power spark type, so it's variable dwell. What else we got? The leads were sort of over 5k resistance, so I've checked with the owner and we've gone for a new set. So that brings the resistance down. The spark plugs are all BP6 or BPR6s. So if we have a look again, we've got insulators are not quite burning the fuel off, but we've also got perhaps a little bit heavy on the fueling as well. So we'll look at that when we come to it. And also the plug gaps are too large. Okay, so put a new set of leads on here due to the resistance being a little bit high. Also changed the spark plugs, as we already mentioned, put a set of BP5Es in, and then we turn our attention to the carburetor. The other thing I've done with this one is I've drilled the airbox, as you can see. Obviously this engine's got a different cam in it, so it does definitely need more airflow. It was already fitted with a K&N filter, so this will just make the most of that airbox. Okay, so we got there in the end. We tried an AAE needle, which was way too lean. AAF needle, and then we modified it at 4,000 and 5,000 RPM and progression as well. So I also put a little bit more fuel in at the top end, so it got a bit more cam, but this one responded really well. So going to send the owner out in it now, and hopefully he's going to enjoy that. Okay, for this week's episode, I'll end it there. I'm going to split it into 2 parts. So look at next week's episode when we'll do some more minis, and we'll have a comma van with a Route 1725 and an ISU HI44 conversion. So without further ado, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for this particular episode. There was a bit more footage that I can use on one episode, so I've split it into 2. So look out for part 2 next week, when we'll carry on with some more minis, and we'll look at a comma van with a Route 1725. As ever, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.